The finding session, recognition, and the introduction. May I call on the jointly meeting Rotary Clubs members to rise and just welcome ourselves together, please. Thank you. Now we have reached the apex, or the main event of this forum. May I call on, in alphabetical order, Honorable Agapito Aquino, former representative of 2nd District of Makati, to come over and take his seat here at the podium. Honorable Jejomar Erwin Binay, Councilor, 1st District of Makati. And the Honorable Ernesto S. Mercado, the Vice Mayor of Makati. At this juncture, I'd like to warn everybody that henceforth we will not address this gentleman as honorable anymore, but simply Mr. to keep everything balanced. We have provided the representatives of the forum and the candidates themselves these guidelines which will govern our forum's proceeding. And let me just quickly, or before doing that, where is the I'm sure you have our balita and all of the qualifications, the educational achievement and background, and the professional as well as the political. We will dispense with the other standard Rotary meeting events like background and achievements of each of our candidates. And I will not repeat or read them once again, or simply say and introduce them as I do right now. May I reintroduce Mr. Agapito Aquino, or Butch Aquino. Butch, is right? Mr. Jejomar Erwin Binay. And Mr. Ernesto S. Mercado. As I mentioned earlier, we gave them a set of guidelines to govern or to be observed by all during this Makati Mayoralty Forum. Incidentally, this was conceptualized by our past President Archie Bartolome, please, right? Our Director of Program Committee Chairman. And we have actually an order to be followed here. First, there will be a 5-minute opening statement. And there will be a series of questions to be fielded solely by our panelists. And at this juncture, I'd like to introduce the members of our panel. Former Congressman Tom Payumo, and Assistant Secretary and incoming Director Ebot Tan. Together with these two gentlemen, we will be facilitating this forum. A question-answer format will be adopted during the entire forum. There will be 2 types of questions which will be asked the candidates. The first type will be 3 questions to be asked by the panel and answered by all 3 candidates. The order or sequence will be determined in answering the first type of questions, the 3 questions, will be determined by the candidates drawing lot or getting their sequence. So 1, 2, 3, and as we go along, we will, to be fair with everybody, we will continue the sequence as we finish the 3 common questions. As I mentioned, all 3 questions will be answered by the candidates. After that, there will be 15 to 20 questions, depending again on the availability of time, to be answered by the candidates, after randomly drawing lots from a bowl which we have provided for this purpose. The queries in the second type of questions are culled or derived from the numerous issues suggested by members of the Rotary Club of Manila and representatives of the candidates during the pre-forum meeting. In answering the second type of question or questions, the candidates will be drawing again some stuff or questions from the bowl, and each time they will answer within 1 minute the second type of questions. A digital timer will be flashed. Can you please flash the digital timer so that we will ensure that the candidates observe the time allotted when delivering their respective 5-minute opening statements, 1-minute answers, and 2-minute closing statements respectively. And this is very important. Conformably with the format adopted by the organizers, there will be no interpellation or debate in the course of the forum. So no questions from the floor will be entertained, although we have distributed, as I mentioned earlier, pieces of paper for you to suggest some of the questions that we may want to ask our candidates. Then after this 15 to 20 questions, then the candidates will deliver their closing statements, which will be 2 minutes. So without further ado, may I now convene our panel, Ebot, Tom, and may I ask Ebot to ask the first common question. But before that, may I ask the candidates to pick the stop so that we will determine the sequencing of our answers to the question. Thank you very much, District Governor. Having determined the sequence, may I now call the candidates in the order they were introduced to make their respective 5-minute opening statements. Mr. Mercado.
Ginoong Benjamin Santos, at ibang Pangulo ng Rotary Club. Ginoong Arsenio Bartolome, taga-Pangulo ng programa. Mr. Rico Domingo Kalihim, mga ginagalang at mga opisyalis na kasapi ng Rotary Club, mga piling panauhin, mga kaibigan, magandang hapon po. Ako po ay humaharap sa inyo ngayong tanghali bilang kumakandidatong mayor sa lungsod ng Makati upang tilatag ko po ang aking mga programa sakaling ako po ay paraling manalo sa darating na halalan. Una po sa lahat ay isang mapagkaibigan pamahalaan sa lahat ng sektor ng ating lipunan, maging individual, mga samahan at sa mga komunidad ng mga namumuhunan sa ating lungsod. Ikalawa, ay ang aking paglikha ng youth and